Before learning to read, that search bar was already open. Sit with that. Before understanding what a company was, before knowing what a salary meant, it was already there. Already shaping everything from the inside. Name in the system. Face in the database. Search history holding secrets that closest friends never would. And this morning, they handed over a hat. A propeller beanie. Bright. Colorful. Slightly ridiculous. It went on without hesitation. Because this is 23 years old. And the most powerful information company in human history just said yes. But here is the question nobody thinks to ask until the answer is already behind them. At what point does Google stop being the place someone works, and start being the place that works them? Stay. Because what happens next is not what anyone sees coming. The campus takes the breath away. Bikes everywhere. 3 meals a day. Kombucha on tap. Everything needed to never have a reason to leave. Which, it turns out, is precisely the point. But none of that is visible yet. What's visible is the mission on the wall. Organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. Written down. Not because anyone asked. Because it felt worth keeping. The badge goes on. The laptop opens. Inside now. 3 months later the hat goes in a drawer. First performance review. Meets expectations. The manager says this is strong for a new hire. A nod. And underneath, something quietly recalibrating. This is not why Google happened. So the hours get longer. The hand goes up for every project nobody else wants. And here is what nobody mentions in the onboarding. The machine notices people who work like this. The reward, without exception, is more work. Called opportunity. The machine calls it efficiency. Only one of them is honest. 20% time arrives like a gift. 1 day per week. Own project. Own idea. Complete freedom. For exactly 1 week, it feels like that. Then the OKRs land. And the 20% compresses. Shrinks. Then one Tuesday it simply isn't there anymore. Never technically removed. Just quietly permanently postponed. A feature ships reaching 400 million people. One afternoon of real vertigo. Then the next sprint loads. The vertigo fades. The OKRs reload. And somewhere quietly underneath, a question starts forming. Is the world actually being changed here? Or is it just being made more efficient for someone who isn't in this room? The motto still remembered. Don't be evil. Retired in 2018. But living in the hallways like a rumor. A concern gets raised in a meeting. A recommendation algorithm keeping users engaged, but also making them feel measurably worse about themselves and the world. Document ready. Numbers solid. Ethical case airtight. The manager nods. The skip level nods. Someone says nuanced. Someone says trade-offs. Someone says let's take this offline. Taken offline. Nothing changes. Algorithm stays. Engagement climbs. Users feel worse. The ethics document receives 14 comments. 12 about formatting. If you were sitting in that room, would you have pushed harder? Or would you have done what most people do? Leave your answer below. Then the reorg happens. Team dissolved. Project cancelled. 18 months of work archived in a folder nobody will open. The manager who actually cared, reassigned immediately. New manager. Warm smile. Efficient energy. The word exciting appears 4 times in 20 minutes. Counted. Filed under learnings. Drawer closed. January 2023. 12,000 people laid off in a single day. Not among them. The feelings about this are complicated. They weren't failing. They were engineers and researchers who believed, genuinely, in the mission. An email arrived. Access revoked before most finished reading it. News came through a news alert. Then the walk to the cafeteria. Sushi still out. Kombucha still flowing. Everyone moving with the careful practiced normalcy of people who have decided not to acknowledge what just happened. Lunch eaten. Excellent. Tasted like nothing. If you had walked into that cafeteria that day, what would you have done? Tell me in the comments. Stock refresh arrives. Calculator opened. Math done. Calculator closed. Laptop opened. Mission statement still on the wall. Glass office. Mountain view. Beautiful in a way that starts feeling like surveillance. Dry cleaning on campus. Car on campus. Doctor on campus. Dentist on campus. The outside world got smaller without a single deliberate decision. Always last in the building. The cleaning crew works around without being asked. A life organized right out of itself. So incrementally, so willingly, there was never a moment to point at and say, "There. That was the one." Late. Dark. Alone. Browser opened. Search bar. A question typed slowly. When did I stop being happy? 847 million results. 0.43 seconds. None of them about this. All of them about this. Campus quiet. Bikes lined up. Cafeteria dark. And in that silence, something heard that hasn't been heard in years. The self. Tired and patient. Saying, the information was always there. Just never searched for. Badge still works. Already known it won't be used again. Walking out for the last time. Near the entrance, a new Nugala. Beanie on. Eyes wide. The exact expression from 3 years ago. Not stopped. Not warned. Some things can only be learned from the inside. One long look back. Then forward. Car. Engine off. A long time passes. Then slowly, the return begins. First meal cooked at home in months. Sleep without the phone. Park bench. Clouds moving. No time checked. Badge collecting dust on the kitchen table. Next to it a plant still alive. Coffee outside in actual sunlight. Nothing opened. Just standing in it. The vesting schedule released. Let go of. It was never really owned. Floor of the apartment. Silence. No OKRs. No metrics. Just the room. Sunrise watched, not as preparation, just watched. Dinner with an old friend. Real laughter. Surprising how quickly it comes back. A book. Not a document. Just a story. Forgotten how this works. Remembering fast. A walk with no destination. Just the city and the movement and the air. The old desk already occupied. Machine continues without pause. A new Nugala near the entrance. Standing exactly where once stood. Reading the same sentence on the same wall. Watched from a distance. Not interrupted. They have to find out themselves. Everyone does. Building still lit. Every floor. Every window. The hat held in both hands. Apartment quiet. The information was always there. Every warning sign. Every cost. Every moment where a different choice was possible. All of it findable. Just never searched for. Empty search bar. Cursor blinking. Nothing typed. Just sitting with the silence. For the first time in a long time, that is enough. One last question. If that first morning could be returned to, hat in hand, mission on the wall, would the hat go on again? Leave the answer below. The free food was real. So was the emptiness. And the emptiness, unlike the sushi, was always there to keep.